Welcome from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Hall of Fame Museum. I am Derwin Smiley, and this is the Derwin Smiley Show. Mr. Mark Miles is the CEO of Hulman and Company. Mr. Miles, welcome back to the show.
Good to see you.
The last time I was with you was when we had just finished the Super Bowl. So now tell me, how did this thing all happen where you are the CEO of Hulman and Company?
Super Bowl seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? It's good to be back with you. Well, I was asked to go on the board of directors of the company. It's a privately held company, and it is a family-owned company. The Hulman family's a big part of the history of this state, and they decided that they wanted to add some outside business people to their board of directors, and so I was one of several local business people who were asked to come join the board. This was not a big financial opportunity for us. It was really more community service, even though it's a private business, because those of us who got involved believe, since we were kids, that this place, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the IndyCar Series, the Hulman Company, is really part of our Hoosier heritage and our history and our economy. And we all just kind of signed up to say anything we can do to help, we'd be happy to do. So first I was a board member. I was still doing my former work. And then some of the directors decided that it might be helpful to the company to add to the management team, and they approached me about doing it, and for really pretty much the same reasons, the sense that we can make this even bigger and better, and that it would matter, and that it's a good economic opportunity and important to the state. For those reasons, I kind of jumped at the chance. It wasn't something I was looking to do. I've been involved in other sports, not particularly motorsports, but after thinking about it and believing I might be able to help, it was something that was really, I saw as an honor and a great opportunity.
Take me through one of your average days.
You know me well enough to know there's no such thing as an average day. So I get up before 6 and, read a couple newspapers and have a couple cups of coffee, and I'm usually either in my office or with somebody about the business by 7:30. And, the end of the day is 7 o'clock, and then I get home, if I'm home, and my wife would be the first to tell you I'm on the phone or the iPad trying to catch up with the emails. So, it's a lot of work and a lot of hours, but I love what I'm doing, so it doesn't matter. The schedule's complicated because the Hulman Company owns the IndyCar Series, which is kind of the Formula One in the United States, in North America. So we have 19 races in 16 cities from March through into October. So those are weekends. So particularly now, because it's all pretty new to me, I really try not to miss them, to see our promoters and see our races and really understand this part of the business. So on top of the normal grind, I'm gone most weekends to our races, at least during that part of the year.
What skills have you brought to the table to IndyCar?
Well, it's hard for me to evaluate my own skills, but I maybe can talk at least about my experience. As you know, for 15 years, I ran the men's professional tennis circuit, the international circuit. And that is structurally and in terms of the functions very similar to the IndyCar Series. So you're the sanctioning body, you make the rules, you set the calendar, you're a promoter trying to create more opportunities for fan engagement, to make more fans to follow your sport. You negotiate television rights and sponsorship sales and all those things. You also get used to dealing with different stakeholders. So in tennis, that's players and it's tournament directors, tournament owners. In racing, that's drivers and it's promoters of our races and it's team owners. So the dynamics, the industry, the environment is very similar. The other part of my sports background is in big events. So I was involved in the Super Bowl not a whole lifetime ago here in Indianapolis, and a lifetime ago, 27 years or whatever it is ago, the Pan American Games. So I've been around major sporting events, and so IMS, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway part of the company, is putting on big events like the Indianapolis 500, and another part of the company, the IndyCar Series, is a league. So that experience, I think, overlaps. It's not the same because motorsports is unique and its history is different, and the technical side of it. I do not have a background in engines and in racing, so it's important to know what you don't know and to get really good people to fill out a team. But a lot of the dynamics are the same, and then we also have an industrial company. And again, I'm not really from a manufacturing background, but I've been on boards of public and private companies, and hope I can bring something to add to the really excellent management of that company.
Before we went on air, we was talking about all of the other companies that are under the Hulman company. Talk a little bit about the other companies that's under that umbrella.
Yeah, well, it's an amazing Hoosier story. This was a family of German immigrants in the mid-19th century that found themselves setting up shop in Terre Haute, Indiana, and first were in the kind of wholesale grocery business. And then in 1899, in Terre Haute, they started one of the current companies called Clabber Girl. Clabber Girl makes a few different food ingredient products, but the main one that they're known for, where we have a pretty substantial market share, is baking powder. So if you and I are baking a cake, we're probably going to use Clabber Girl baking powder. That's one. The company owns some real estate in Terre Haute and in Indianapolis. And then we own the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, so we have that physical asset, but also all the events that go on there. We own the 500. We promote the Brickyard 400 for NASCAR, the MotoGP race, and other events. And we own the IndyCar Series, which we've talked about as kind of the league for open-wheel motorsports in North America. And then we have a broadcast production company that produces the live signal for events like Pacer Games from Bankers Life, or we do the Lakers home games at Staples Center and Big Ten Sports, and we do some post-production work, so in studio editing and the like. So it's a diverse portfolio of companies. A lot of it is around racing, but some of it isn't.
I have to go to a break, but stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We will continue our conversation with Mr. Mark Miles, the CEO of Hulman and Company. Mr. Miles, when we went to break, we was talking about all of the skills that you bring to the table for Hulman Company, IndyCar. I want to move into what's the state of IndyCar today?
Well, so IndyCar, the open wheel racing series, I think has a big upside. We have 16 races, and actually 19 races in 16 cities. So in 3 of our weekends, we run what we're calling double headers, a race on Saturday and a race on Sunday as well. I think it's a very solid platform. I think the racing on the track is dynamite. So I wasn't particularly a hardcore motorsports fan, but the closer you get, the more compelling I think this product is. It's kind of extreme sport. We are the fastest racing other than the dragsters. So if you got to turn the wheel, we're the fastest in this country. It's a great product, and we are unique in that we've got 3 kinds of racing. So we race on ovals, big ovals like Indianapolis, and shorter tracks like in Milwaukee and in Iowa. So that's like a mile oval. You picture this. Hoosiers who don't follow it wouldn't know. And our Indy cars are screaming. They're doing like 18-second laps around this oval. I'm getting dizzy watching it. So we do oval racing. We do street racing. So that can be right in the middle of a city. And we're doing that in Long Beach, California, and in St. Petersburg, Florida. Beautiful places, right downtown. Takes the city over when we set that up and do it. And then we have what are called road course races. So we're in Alabama for that, in Ohio next weekend. And that looks like a street race, except it's more of a permanent track and often in kind of a park-like setting. So this is diverse racing that requires different skills for different types of racing, and we think that says a lot in defining IndyCar. So we love our product, and we love the nature of the racing and the competition. The drivers are terrific. It's been really fun to get to know our drivers. They come from different parts of the world. We got Americans, we've got guys from New Zealand and Australia and Europe and Brazil and really Canada, all over. And there's a kind of self-selection thing. These guys are articulate, fit, they are athletes. I mean, it's almost like jockeys in a horse. There's no extra body weight in that. They work very hard to keep the weight down for the chassis and the engine, so they're going to do it for the athlete. And they're smart guys that know how to present themselves and are good citizens, so I love working with them. A whole other population, and that's a strength right now, are the team owners, so people like Roger Penske, who's a very successful businessman and racing team owner, and Michael Andretti and Chip Ganassi, and they're just a class act, really great folks to work with. Where I think we have to bring a lot of value to the table is to be better promoters, better communicators, make more noise in the marketplace, be better competition by executing better in the promotion of the sport, and attract some more fans.
What's your plan to bring IndyCar racing back to prime time networks, or can that be done?
Well, we have some of it. So we had, I think, 5 races this year that are live on ABC Network, and then the balance are on NBC Sports. We're happy with that constellation of broadcasters, but I think over time we'll look for more free-to-air network opportunities. But right now the job is to make people aware of what's there and put our schedule together in a way that's easier for fans to follow, so you know when to expect to be able to find IndyCar racing and what broadcaster to tune into and what time, and really the basics of blocking and tackling and putting a sports product forward.
Has the glory days of IndyCar, are they behind us with the era of your A.J. Forts, Mario Andretti, Al Unser, or is there a brighter day ahead?
Well, for sports, any sport, I think it's really tough to compare whole eras, But I'm as sure as I can be that we can increase the popularity of open wheel racing in America, and IndyCar in particular. As I said, I think it's a compelling competition. The product on the track is off the charts, and I love our athletes, and so I think there's a lot of upside. And I think we can do more with kids. Some people say, certainly my sons wouldn't know. They don't know the trunk from the engine, or how to change a tire, but they know what fast is. And at least young boys, and I think it's true for girls, as soon as they can get behind the wheel, they're probably going to try to do donuts. So speed matters. You can take one of our cars, any of these cars, one of the museum pieces or a current car, and put it at the airport or put it in a school. You just watch. Kids absolutely are climbing all over it. It's a magnet. So I think there's a lot to attract kids with, and we just have to be really thoughtful about how to present it, how to use technology, be aware of their attention spans, and adapt. But I think there's a lot of appeal to our sport.
I want to touch on this in the next segment. How important is the word trust to you? Here's Mr. Mark Miles, CEO of Hulman and Company. Stay with us. Before we went to break, I threw up the question, what does the word trust mean to you as it pertains to your new position?
Well, the fact that you asked that question is one of the things I like about you, and one of the things I like about this show. You're thinking about more than the mechanics of a business and the economy and all that. It's everything. I don't want to work with people I don't trust. I don't want to do business with companies and other entities that I don't trust. It's just the foundation for a successful life, and I think a successful enterprise or business. So it's absolutely everything. And trust means a lot of different things to me. Obviously, it means integrity. I don't want to have to, if I'm in the trenches with you every day, I don't want to have to worry about whether you're spinning me. I want to know that you're going to tell me what you know I need to know, and it's going to be unvarnished, and trust and respect kind of go hand in hand. So I don't know of a more important business and principle for life than trust, and that's something that people earn every day. And if you blow it, I'm not sure you get it back.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your support staff. How important is your team? Because I know working with you with the Super Bowl Legacy Project, how you had a diverse of individuals in there working on that project. How is your team with your position now?
Well, again, it's everything. Nothing important gets done on any scale unless it's writing a book or some individual creative enterprise by one person. A lot of times people get credit for the success of a big team, and that's not right, but it's not accurate. So it's vital, and I mentioned the various businesses that we have at Hulman Company. The people running those businesses are, we're going to war with them. We're going to go compete, and I trust them, and they're competent, and they're competitive. They know what they're doing. So at the top level of an organization, you've got a set of expectations about the character of the people, but also their specific experience and competence and their work ethic and all the rest of it. But that's true all the way down through the organization. None of us can be successful if we don't have the ability to attract and retain really good people. And that's one of the really refreshing things about this place. It has, whether it's here in the museum or over in the production company, people are proud to be part of it. They feel like, yeah, it's a business, but it's, people know what they do. We matter in the city and in the state, around the world to some extent. And so there's a lot of pride in being part of this big place, and we get that kind of psychic reinforcement every day, and I think that's true for everybody that works here.
Let's talk about the improvement plan that you have for the Speedway. I think that's what everybody's excited about. So let's spend a little bit of time talking about what is going to be expected when we drive past here and see.
Well, we're still working on the specifics, but the background, of course, is that this is a huge place, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You can win a bar bet if you win in a bar, Derwin. So what's the size of the track? You can fit inside the track, the Rose Bowl, Churchill Downs, Yankee Stadium, Wimbledon, the Coliseum in Rome, and Vatican City, all of it. It's a big place. So it's old, right? It's been here a long time. The Hulman family's owned it since 1945. So keeping it up is one thing, and that's kind of what we've been doing. It's been added to over the years. But we also have to realize that the fan experience and the excitement and the possibilities for how many people we can bring out here is part of their experience when they get here. So technology investments are going to be really important, and I can imagine all kinds of alternative investments in technology, from just making sure you've got good cell signal, and data capacity, so you can text and take pictures and send them, and the things everybody does all the time now, big issue in the Super Bowl, to video. And it's a big place. It's hard to see the whole track. It's not like sitting in the front row and watching a basketball game. So we got to find ways to make the experience for somebody who comes out here of the race itself. There's so much data. If you can get the Verizon app at home on your phone and pick your in-car cameras so you can see the experience of particular drivers. You can get all kinds of data off the cars in addition to seeing the race and the like. So the more, and this is true in every sport, the more we can make the in-stadium experience richer and more compelling, the more people we can expect to come back. So technology is a big bucket. Seats are old. We'd like to increase the quality and size for those of us who are a little wider than others. We'd like to be able to offer more hospitality. Some of us are used, there's a part of the population that goes to the Colts games and they're in the club seats and they can walk out the club seats and get something to eat and drink. And there's some of that here, but we think we could provide more of it. So there's a lot of investments to sort through. We could think of a whole lot more things to do than we're going to have the money to do. The key for us and for the state that helped us put this capital together is to make the smartest decisions that produce the greatest return in the future.
How important is giving back to the community, or Hulman Company having a face in the community?
Well, I don't know about the face part, but I think I've always felt that people have a responsibility to be good citizens, and that means there's a whole lot of ways people can contribute as citizens. And I think entities and companies do. So right now we're having some internal discussions about the United Way, for example, which I've always believed was one of the most important institutions for human services and taking care of people in our community, and we're looking at how we can do a whole lot more.
I have to take a break, but he is Mark Miles, CEO of Hulman Company. Stay with us.
Give me drivers who live to put it all on the line, and cars unlike any other. Because this is America, and here we race IndyCar.
I thank you for staying with us. We will continue our conversation with Mr. Mark Miles. As we went to break, we was talking about how important it is IndyCar to give back to the community. And you was talking about United Way. Can you go a little bit further with that?
Well, as I was saying, I think it's everybody's responsibility and every entity's responsibility. You got to make money or you won't be around, but then you got to do something with it to make it a better place. So United Way is an initial focus. I feel like there's big upside to how much we can get our employees, all of us, to do more to support United Way agencies and the organization itself. We already have interesting programs for STEM education here in Indianapolis with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and IndyCar in all the cities where we race. We have partners like Purdue and Ivy Tech and others that are trying to reach kids through their fascination with our cars and our racing and show them. It's really fascinating to think, you know, some of us didn't really just jump on math. It didn't seem very relevant maybe once you get past arithmetic. But when we can explain to kids what math and the other STEM disciplines, how the roles they play in racing, all of a sudden lights go off. Oh, it's practical. That's cool. So our STEM programs are absolutely not for profit, meant to give back in that sense. We are going to be aggressive in thinking about how to make ourselves more involved with our minority communities here in Indianapolis, and we've got lots of ideas about how to be a good citizen.
I think, how can small businesses do business with IndyCar?
Well, I think it's really all our companies, and they each try to reach out in different ways, and I think that's an area we can do a better job in. So right now there's really no centralized purchasing. That is probably in our future, and that'll give us a better ability to present ourselves to emerging businesses and small business. And everything we've done, we've tried to make that a priority, and I think it can be increasingly so here. But it's not just the Hulman companies, IndyCar, IMS Productions, and the like. We are sort of the anchor for a real cluster. So there's this whole motorsports business. We've got 20-plus racing teams that employ, on average, maybe 100 people. And that's all the people you'd expect to be around a racing team, and they are buyers from suppliers. So there are parts and a whole food chain, a whole supply chain of companies that do business around racing. And so we'll work more and more on finding ways to communicate about what we're buying and what the opportunities are, and to reach out into the community.
to date, what is your greatest achievement?
Here with this company in the first 6 months?
IndyCar, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, at one level, I hope we've provided some stability and some direction and some confidence and that'll start showing up with more investments and set the stage for growth. I have had a role in working with the state to put together the program for the money that will help us invest, that'll be invested in the facility, will help us grow faster and hopefully provide a better return. And in 6 months, beyond that, I think we've begun to bring in some really high quality people. I love one of our hires is a guy named Derek Walker, who's very experienced from Scotland, been involved in every part of racing. He's now running the competition side of the business. For those of us who know very little about motors and engines and all that, he's just a superstar. We're bringing him on board was a good thing. So we're looking to bring on some other folks. We're doing some searches, and I think attracting talent will be one of the important keys early on.
What has been your toughest thing to conquer?
Well, I mean, we have bigger strategic challenges. We have to, over time, improve our television audiences and bring in more investment. That's not something anybody expected to do in 6 months. I don't know. It's just hard work. I don't think there's been one thing that we've wanted to get done that we haven't been able to make some progress on. But Rome wasn't built in a day. This is a great place, and this is a strong platform, these businesses. But growing them is going to take some time, and I probably could rank some of the challenges, but so far I don't feel like there's been a biggest problem. It's just getting your arms around all of it and getting the right people in the right places and getting on with it.
What does the future hold for IndyCar?
I think both. I think of it, it's not a brand, but I think of it as Hulman Racing.
Okay.
So I think both for the Speedway and IndyCar as a series, the future can be very bright. Here in Indianapolis, at this phenomenal facility with improvements to it, I think we can do a lot more here. So we will look to be aggressive, to have a lot more days when this place comes alive and it's part of the fabric of the community and more important to the economy. For IndyCar itself, we're going to find new fans and bring in more investors and compete for the mind share of people who are interested in being entertained and in sports. And I think it's a fabulous product with which to do that.
He is Mr. Mark Miles, the CEO of Hulman and Company. And I thank you for tuning into the Derwin Smiley Show this evening. And remember, my sole purpose is to inspire the greatness in you. I'll see you next time.